for coming on the podcast. Can you give us a little story about like what you do and how you got into the whole crypto space? Because you're a quite famous person, but you're also kind of mythical. Like no one really knows what you do, but right besides trading future contracts and the occasional tweets and shitting on meme coins. So I'm very curious about that story about you.
So yeah, first and foremost, thanks for having me. Me and Kasper met in person at EFCC earlier this year, so it was fun having some beers. So to start on a light note, I'm full time in the markets, financial markets for 5 years now, but I've been always kind of trading. By trading, I mean buying low and trying to sell high. First, I started, the classic MMORPG games as a teenager. Then I was buying and selling a lot of sneakers, which in a lot of ways is actually super similar to what NFT market used to be, at least back in the day. Maybe is now with the meme coins, which I'm not participating, but that is a bit of background in the markets for 5 years. I trade for a prop shop. I manage like how to say it, but relatively small portfolio, while I'll trade mostly on centralized exchanges. First and foremost, due to liquidity, but also I guess because of my edge, which I guess we will discuss later in this chat. But yeah, I'm the boring centralized exchange trader. It's kind of funny because we're recording this in late October 2024, when literally everybody's trading meme coins and launching their own coins and whatnot. And I feel like I'm a dinosaur. I'm like talking to myself in the corner, talking about Bitcoin on Twitter. So
When you were saying about that you started originally trading in MMORPGs, which games were that? Was that RuneScape? Was that World of Warcraft? Can you give me a little bit more detail about that?
well, I was playing Lineage 2. I'm not sure if that sounds familiar to you.
I'm going to be honest, I have no clue.
No, no worries. But like you could enchant your weapons and just flip them with people. But funnily, in a lot of these games, there, at least the ones I played, there was no like B2. There wasn't like a proper marketplace. So often you would get scammed, or I could be the one potentially if I wanted to, but I was not scamming. Meaning like you would send gold for weapon. So the mechanism of a trade wasn't the most convenient. Like somebody could like literally scam you.
Can I compare it a
But
little bit to like the old school CS:GO skin market? Well, I mean, at the moment, CS:GO skins are still, like a very scammy market, so to say, and it's very cryptocurrency involved. But can I compare it to that, or is there, like a big difference between those two markets?
to be fair, I never played CS:GO. I was always a Call of Duty guy, so I wouldn't know. But I'm sure the idea is the same, right? People buying and selling something uh, that, to be honest, doesn't have any value whatsoever. Especially in those games, it's literally just graphic. It's like literally just to
Mhm.
flex online, which I think it's ridiculous. But now I'm older, so I'm thinking about it differently.
I
Obviously,
mean,
these days kids are buying like Fortnite skins for real money.
yeah, it's still like a sort of like, how can I say it? Like it's a status symbol. Like, oh, I have this rare item that you don't. Like, even though it's not the nicest looking one, like I think with a lot of these markets, like Fortnite skins or CS:GO skins, there's a huge market for this. And you have like the peer-to-peer trading aspect where you can just have like a nice looking skin for a very cheap price. Well, you can have a very rare but nice looking skin that's very expensive, but you're instantly going to be treated better because you have that nice looking skin compared to like the poor version of it, so to say.
Yeah, literally. I think it's even easier to have this conversation when it comes to streetwear and like fashion. It's
Hmm.
much easier, right? Especially people. I mean, I don't want to say just younger people. People buy like stuff, right? Like streetwear brands and high fashion brands.
It's just a status symbol. Like I think we can
Yeah, yeah.
compare, like even not even streetwear today, but like we see it a lot with finance bros. I will not be naming names, but like if you buy a basic ass Rolex Submariner for like 15,000 euros, it's like the Starbucks coffee while you're calling yourself a barista type of situation. You later moved on from like trading items in game to trading sneakers. Like currently, I'm someone that never really got into that market, but for me, it always seemed a little bit like sniping meme coins at the moment. where you're trying to build a certain bot that can like snipe a certain market that you know is going to sell extremely well from the beginning. And there's a lot of how can I say it, like challenges that you have to overcome. Like there's like what's the name again? Cloudflare that you have to go through. There's like captchas from
Mhm.
different versions. Is it very comparable to that, or do you say no? It's like a totally different market.
Well, the sneaker market and a lot of the fashion markets, you have several channels of like distribution. So one is online, so it's very similar. It's having being fast, having multiple accounts, different payment methods to check out multiple. So let me give you like walk you through an example.
Hmm.
You want to buy a pair of shoes, and like by definition, the website will only allow you to buy one pair, or like one item at
Hmm.
one size at a certain time, right? So for you to check out multiple, you would have to have like multiple Chrome tabs, multiple different. Some e-shops would go to more sophisticated that you would have to like rotate IPs. I'm not like a very technically sound person, but that's like the basic idea of buying, copying via bot online. I mean, I've done this 10 years ago, so obviously things got so much more sophisticated, but there's the basic premise. You can buy, let's say you set up 100 tabs and you'll get a cook, you'll get a dub or whatever you want to call it. You'll be successful in 6 tabs. You got 6 pairs of shoes or whatever. And that's one way. Second way is these distribution channels are, as I said, either online or in person, which let's say if you live in a major city where there could be a store of, let's make an example with Adidas. I hope they don't sue us, but they'll probably not. But like you would have a flagship store in, let's say, London, right? So you would have,
Hmm.
there are several mechanisms that in-store Adidas would go about this. They would either have a raffle, meaning you have to come in person, you get a piece of paper with a number 12, and then they use like random.org and they pick a number, or you have to do something that's called camping. So you would literally have people sitting in front of Adidas store for 2 days or something.
Yeah, you
So
can compare it
I've
to
done
like
all of
those.
these. I've done
Yeah.
all
Oh,
of
you
these.
were also one of the guys that physically went to the store, like trying to get the sneakers, as a first buyer, waiting in
Yeah,
line for
yeah.
like 6, 8 hours. Got
Oh,
that,
even
like
more, even more.
even more. Like, yeah, look, here's the thing. Like, I respect the grind, like I really do. But like at the same time, well, now we both are get a lot higher stage, I think, in our careers that we can say that's like batshit insane. But that's what it takes, I think.
Well, but also I was at the time I was like late teens, right? So I'm still like either late high school or first year of undergrad of college, and I would also pay my friends and pay like homeless people to be with me. So I would,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, you were basically managing a whole crew, a sort of mini mafia, or how they call
I
it right
mean,
now on crypto Twitter is a mini cabal, basically.
well, I
But you're not
mean,
onboarding celebrities with
like
homeless
look,
people.
if people got food and like you're like teenagers, so you get like a bottle of whatever cheap alcohol, and you're just having fun while making money, not doing anything illegal. I think it's all
Look,
things
man, I've been
considered
there.
pretty. So I think that's pretty good.
I'm not judging at all, by the way. I'm simply
I
respecting
know,
the
I know.
grind. Like I've been there. I've been there. Yeah, I've been in the struggle where I would like spend like an hour on something and it would earn me like 3 euros, but I'm just trying something new, or maybe trying to scale it. So like the difficulties of making it out of the internet hood, so to say. Like it's a difficult challenge, so I'm definitely not the one judging. Like I only can respect, like putting in that much time and effort and like the human suffering that you have to go through to get all of that. But now that you're a crypto trader, like what you earlier said that you're I forgot the exact term that you said, but I think you said like a CFI pleb, but maybe I'm wrong. Feel free to correct me. But like, what is your style of trading right now? Because you moved to quite a different market where it's there's a lot more factors at play besides hype or insider. Well, no, there's still insider information, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now last few months, I just became, especially this year, I've been trading mostly Bitcoin and ETH and a bunch of Solana as well. So like very
Hmm.
basic, boring markets that are for the most part very correlated. Because I feel like I would rather get fucked by a Coinbase seller or like a ETF inflow rather than some developer smoking crack while being on pump.fun and rugging me. So I'm just mostly trading Bitcoin these days. And there's this one thing, I would put it this way, like I would much rather size up on Bitcoin position than have 11 different altcoins and on-chain shitters with significantly smaller sizes. It's like the classic question you get: why are you not trading altcoins? The percentage moves are so much different, right? And like, how do you even respond to that? It just fairly, yeah, it's a silly question.
There are a few, like answers that I constantly give. It's like, well, you're a bunch of adult men that are trying to gaslight each other to buy a specific meme coin because it's going to be the future of finance and it's going to moon or whatever. And at the end of the day, it's a cabal game. Like we both can agree, I think, that most of the meme coin markets at the moment are just purely manipulative and are total bullshit. There are a lot of market making firms like DWF that are profiting from it. Well, DWF mainly does like that coins that they try to revive in some kind of way via a loan contract, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, it's just pure fucking bullshit. And then when we compare it to like the VC coins that we had back in the day, like yeah, of course, like a lot of them were very scammy, but there's also because a lot of the VCs that were busy with this stuff back in the day were just scammy from the beginning, but you had the terms and agreements from the beginning, and they were kind of public, not always as public as they should have been, but like with meme coins, it gets like a lot more obfuscated, I think is the correct term. But at least you get what I mean. And I'm guessing,
Mm.
at least from my short interactions with you over the past few days, that you trade a lot based on order flow and news, and how the market is
Mm.
positioned in general, especially with the wars going on right now in Ukraine and Russia versus Israel and Palestine, etc. But maybe you can correct me on any of those statements.
Yeah. I mean, kind of just to follow up on a couple of things with the meme coins. Look, people are having fun. I think of the overwhelming amount of people are losing money. I mean, since this trading is on chain, right? So you have the data, the
Mhm.
wallet aggregators and whatnot. Amount of people actually making any significant money, and by that I mean at least five figures, is basically 0.000. It's actually sad. And to go back to my like what kind of trading style, yes, I think that's been very useful for me. The easiest example I can give, in most recent one, right? So earlier today, for us, it's actually going to be, it's like 22 hours ago. At the time of recording this, we had some headlines, right? DB, 3 of Alpha, Delta 1.
About Tether?
Yeah, no, before that, that was Tether, but then it was also Israel and Iran. I don't know who attacked
Yeah.
who, but one side, right? And you would have a massive, like if I in front of me have a 15-minute chart, we went down, right? Obviously, no shit, Sherlock.
Hmm.
Great analysis, Runner. Thank you, very insightful. But BTC went down, whatever, 3%, but some of the altcoins, like even in quotation marks, Solana, for example, went down like 10, right? So if you're online and or like 6%, right? But there's a lot of opportunities in, and I don't want to say it's easy, but it's like repetitive, right? All the Israel and Iran war escalations, always almost the same trade. There's a lot of patterns I see with the ETF inflows and outflows, Coinbase seller coming back. So I just always kind of try to find a couple patterns I do over and over again, and doing my best to make money. Of course, doesn't always happen, but yeah, this maybe I'm just getting complacent and lazy. Honestly, I'm considering it too,
I
but
mean, it's a little bit of a complex process in general. Like what I've noticed a lot with news traders, for example, that are trading based on like I don't know what the correct term is, but basically war signals. Like the moment that someone attacks another, that they take that as a signal, and based on that they do a specific trade. But news articles these days, there's so much fake news or like news that's not really correct, or it's like worded improperly. But because they are so focused on being the first one to report it, they basically like give a wrong message. So traders
mm,
later on make an incorrect decision based on the bad wording of these news articles. But maybe you can give me your insight on that.
yeah, no, I think what you said is very accurate. I've been trading for this prop for like let's say 3 years for simplicity's sake, and
Hmm.
I'm sure a lot you and many listeners can attest to that. That like the game kind of often changes. So remember, for several years there was something called narrative trading, right? So you would
Hmm.
have, for example, without dropping names, Project X is going to release mainnet in 2 months, right? And so people would long that coin, and that coin would have relative outperformance relative to the rest of the market. So you could basically long this coin and take profit on the said day. So let's say November 1st, right? So that was like a meta. Then was a meta with, as you said, news trading. So you could basically use many news trading terminals like Trio of Alphas, and a lot of these guys have their own custom-made solutions. But basically, example, literally just in this very second, Aptos, fake example, right? But Aptos releases blah blah blah, which is going to scale the transactions by 11x and got funded by Google Cloud. What happens
Yeah.
to Aptos on 1 minute chart? Goes up 4%, dumps 2% because the dump is news traders dumping and taking profits on their longs, and then you have like a second fart up and then dump, right? Like full Burj Khalifa on 5 minute chart 1 hour later.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, a lot of these guys, and what I feel like to kind of close this segment is, I feel like a lot of the news trading recently has been pretty dead. Best example I can give, XRP and Litecoin got recently, like Canary, one fund or like one institution called Canary. Sorry, I don't know them, but they applied for XRP and Litecoin ETFs. They filed like officially, and it didn't do shit to the price. And if that happened 1 year ago or 2 years ago, like you could catch like a 20% move on XRP to both sides.
Well, I think we can also agree that the market has just, shifted a lot. Like a lot of the people that are, trading speculatively are now focusing on meme coins, as rotten that market is. Back in the day, it was very different. There was a lot of institutional money that didn't know anything about crypto, so they would just go based off of news and do like a hardcore trade based on, whatever, the news was saying that was happening, and they wouldn't even fact check it because they know that, hey, we can buy or sell this specific asset because of this certain news, because retail will come in like 5 or 10 or 20 minutes, and then they will act upon it. And they, back in the day especially, like they weren't really trading on the futures markets or the perpetual markets. They were focusing on the spot market, and it's way easier to move the spot market than it is to move the perpetuals market. Maybe that's just my opinion, but at least back in the day, that was the case. Spot
So
is always king.
would you say then that market just got simply more efficient, like smart people became smarter? Meaning you said, right,
Um,
fund would buy and 20 minutes later you would have a pleb,
it's
if you will.
it's a good question. Is the market a little bit more efficient? I think there's less. How can I say it? From an institutional perspective, my gut feeling is telling me that there is less dumb money in the institutional space because they got washed out by the bear market and by FTX and so many other factors. But I still believe like there's still a lot of dumb money that can move the market. But I see that money has now focused on the meme coin market because back in the day, for example, a lot of the spot volume that was driving the market, think about like Binance Chain and all of that stuff. That was
Mhm.
mostly being greedy teenagers that were involved with crypto that suddenly made a big bag, or they just got involved because their friends made a lot of money, uh, and they were basically moving the market. Or at least that's my feeling, but I didn't do any like proper data-driven analysis behind it because it's just such a complex matter to research, and especially back in the day, like I wasn't recording all of that data at all.
Yeah, I think it's actually interesting, right? Well, right now everything is like on Solana, the meme coins, and having fun. But
Hmm.
back in my day, that was Binance Smart Chain. Like
But it
it's
made
literally
sense.
the same shit all over
Because back in
again.
the day, like you had Solidity, and then you had like the one of the first alt EVMs was BNB. Oh, was Binance Chain, but BNB went from, oh, I forgot what it was, but they went from like $20 to like $400 in like a couple of weeks, and like it was a very rapid rise, like with very little downtime. So a lot of people made a huge amount of money just on BNB. And then the moment that you have a lot of money, or like, you know, a lot of actors that didn't know how to spend that money, they were going into like these random how can I say it, like rugs or casinos, or like high risk coins at least, because they suddenly felt like they were a smart player because they made the right decision on, you know, betting their money on BNB. And a lot of these people, you know, made a lot of money before on BTC or Ethereum, and then they just have to put a very small amount of their profits into BNB, which now kept, you know, like went up by 20, 30, 40, 50x, whatever it was at the time. But it's been a very long time since you know, since I've been there. But I do remember that period very well, where like BNB went, I think, from like $15 to like 400, like within a couple of days. But I'm saying a few weeks just to be safe, because honestly, I don't remember properly.
Yeah, good times. Maybe it's literally just us, like right now, shitting on whatever people are having fun on Solana is like our bitterness and stubbornness from back in the day that we got from the Binance Smart Chain PTSD
For
flashbacks.
me, it's not that. It's just like currently the market is, no, like back in the day, like with Binance Chain coins, at least you could say that like a meta would last for a couple of months, or it would hold the price like pretty well. Right now, it's literally a coin can exist today, it can go up by 100x tomorrow, and then it will die again in a few days. And it's all, you know, like it's a market that's so much more rapid than back in the day. It's
Mm,
actually quite funny because my whole thesis for Solana back in the day, when it was like $2.5 or whatever, like before SBF was mentioning it, like BNB got some good attention, and I was like, hey, imagine if like people were gambling on shitcoins, you know, for the cheap, but they didn't have to go to a layer two or have to deal with all of this bullshit. Solana would make a lot of sense. That's literally my entire thesis why I bought a lot of Solana coins back in the day. And then I started selling them from like, you know, $200 plus. So I made like a good return of at least 100x. Um, but that thesis kind of fired back because no one really gave a shit until the cycle restarted this year. But then what started the whole meme coin cycle is, if I'm not mistaken, it was BONK. But BONK is a venture-backed meme coin. Like they were backed by the Solana Foundation itself, a lot of different actors that kind of acted like a KOL. Then they launched BONKbot, so that there was a 1% fee, and X percentage of that fees goes back into buying BONK. So you basically had a constant buying pressure suddenly on this meme coin. And why did they pick BONK? Because Shiba Inu, Dogecoin, you know, they're all Shiba Inu based. Like the breed of the dog is a Shiba Inu. For Doge, I forgot her name, but she died earlier this year. Before that,
Kabosu?
Kawasu. Before that, Sheems died. Sheems was a dog that's like known for like a horny jail meme, but also it's a Shiba Inu. And then they basically launched BONK because it's like BONK go to horny jail. But at the end of the day, did that coin do anything special? No, but they did have a lot of VC backing. And it's kind of obvious that it was a VC play. And I can see that happening right now with a ton of meme coins, that they are running the same playbook over and over again, but now just in a shorter time frame. Well, BONK does have at least like some nice features, like the BONK bot, you know, Telegram bot, where you can snipe meme coins and
Mhm.
all that stuff. But I'm going to be honest, like, and a lot of friends are going to be very angry at me because they work for BONK bot. Let's be honest, the bot is shit. It took them so long to implement limit orders. It doesn't have the sniper feature. There is so much that's going on. It has an extremely high fee as well. I don't remember. I think it's 1% per order, or maybe it's like 50 BPS or whatever. But you know, they can kiss my ass. It's a shit bot, and like all of these Telegram bots are a scam at the end of the day. That are just trying to milk speculative players that are just trying to gamble on a certain meme coin, trying to get it, you know, trying to make it out of poverty. And I think it's
Mm.
extremely sad. But well, they can fight me on that later on.
Yeah, I do agree. I kind of probably is like first of all, I don't think I should sit on a pedestal just because I trade for a prop shop and I trade Bitcoin like a boomer. But I do agree that like I see it a lot on Twitter, of course, talking to people every day, all day. It's a lot of trying to make it with one meme coin type of thing. Or it doesn't have to be meme coin, like trying to basically change your life overnight, right? The
Hmm.
metaphor to that or analogy to real life would be a fat, because I used to be extremely turbo fat kid, like
Mm-hmm.
like a like insanely fat kid. And like for me, I even remember I would Google like pill to lose, like people think you can drink like a pill and lose weight tomorrow, look like Arnold Schwarzenegger tomorrow. Like I have bad news for you, right? It's just not how it works. But
You just have to
people
run,
then,
right?
yeah, I mean, it just takes time, right? It's like investing into the process, essentially. Same with trading, and we're investing in like life, career, relationships with people. Nothing's overnight. But for some reason, I feel like our industry glorifies this. You have $1,000 and a dream, or whatever is the saying, like Solana and a dream, 10 Solana and a dream. It's like, sure, if somebody loses all that money, it's not end of the world, but this is like the most likely scenario to lose it all anyways. And even if you made it from, let's say, $1,000 to 100K in a week or whatever, I'm almost confident, like I'm very confident, I'm pretty sure you're going to lose it all eventually,
No,
like
I definitely agree.
every single last cent of that 100K. And guess what, right? In a lot of cases, people don't set off like people are gonna hate me for this, but like for taxes and shit, right? So then you're uber fucked and
Yeah, but
realized gains
they
and
don't really give a shit because they're like, well, we are allowed, and it's like an inside game at the end of the day. Like, there's so much shenanigans that you can do with these meme coins. And there, you don't have to deal with like a lot of the like responsibility. So it's better to just like promote meme coins to in like this how can I say it, like this divine being, so to say, where you can make it all of these coins because VCs are bad. And I will agree that there are a lot of bad venture capitalists. Like the majority of VCs in crypto are pretty damn bad or have done shady stuff, but at least they disclose how bad it is because they're forced to. Or there are a lot of services like coin ranking or PitchBook and all of these service providers that can give you insight on how these deals are going, and you at least know how fucked you are. While with meme coins, they're trying to obfuscate it as much as possible. However, influencers are being paid a fat bag, to promote this garbage, and they will just take that and they don't give a shit about whatever you do or whatever you are doing, because in 2 weeks you're going to forget about me anyways, and it doesn't matter. And there's so many meme coins being launched right now that researchers don't even care anymore. Like there's a reason why ZachXBT doesn't go after meme coins, because let's be honest, that guy is probably sick of it. There's like a meme coin being launched every few seconds on pump.fun. There's a meme coin on Ethereum. There's a meme coin on Base, on Sui, and like a lot of these meme coins are being launched by the same corrupt fucking people, and people know about it, but they don't want to speak out about it because they are scared that they will hit them back. And people prefer to have a high follower count than high values. But that's maybe just me speaking, especially with my about my recent shenanigans and what I'm doing. So
Mhm.
you know that I take values quite highly, and that I kind of want to screw over a lot of people that like eyeballs above reputation. But maybe that's just me.
But it's kind of it's very sad state of like how the industry celebrates effectively. I don't want to drop names, so I don't need to start drama,
Oh yeah, I get what
but
you mean.
yeah,
But
but
we
like
know both. We both know who you like a few people that you want to talk about.
but I just cannot believe how people close like turn how does it say, what is it saying in English, like they pretend like it's not happening. It's
Mhm.
insane, I don't know. And it feels like if you like being like not being a scammer from perspective of a KOL, if you will, it's like one of your biggest assets, and you can work with real projects and real companies because you, let's say, have some followers or like some brand recognition, and you're not a scammer, you're already outperforming in terms of reputation Olympics.
Yeah, but who cares about reputation when you have eyeballs and can make a quick buck right now? Right now, it's like Mr. Beast. Who cares about that there's mold in my meal when I have a lot of eyeballs and I can sell you some piece of garbage right now? You're gonna pay for that right now, and then you're gonna forget about it later, anyways, because that's the life of an influencer. I know, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I think you get my point.
No,
A
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
these, a lot of these people also don't have the skills to make it outside of ripping other people off. And back in the day that worked, and now they can just do it at a higher frequency, or they can do it at a higher level because that's currently just the market. But perhaps it's better to move over, move on from meme coins and talk about CeFi and DeFi, because earlier today you said that you're a CeFi pleb. So as a CeFi user, what are the exchanges that you're using right now, and what makes you not choose a decentralized platform? It doesn't matter if it's Extend or HyperLiquid or whatever. Or like, what is the reasoning that you don't move over? What can be improved to buy you over?
Well, for me personally, as I said, I trade for a prop, right? So a lot of the decisions, why I keep mentioning is because I'm not the decision maker over, you know what I mean? So I don't get to choose. I have
It's in
some
the
say
investor
in.
mandate.
Yeah. So it's like, I think it would take quite a bit of time, like convincing, which I could do. It's not an issue, but I just don't care to do because I mean, my job is to trade, and I get paid to trade, not to make PowerPoint presentations why this, Y, and Z is better. On the other hand, a bad experience with FTX. So it's like a bit of contradicting myself, but mostly utilizing Binance as of right now, due to simple answer liquidity. It's like I know HyperLiquid. I've heard a lot of positive stuff from people, but back in the day when I tried it, I would call it hyper illiquid rather than HyperLiquid.
Yeah,
But
because the liquidity was bad because they had to bootstrap it over time. Now, something I had my own fund for a while. What I always what I find personally interesting, like I totally get like the investor mandate, like the legal aspect of it is like a huge pain in the ass, especially when it comes to like you know reassuring investors that like, hey, I'm gonna put my funds in this platform for this specific reason. With Binance, it's kind of easy to say because it's like the main exchange right now and it's the most liquid overall. And then compared to decentralized exchanges, there's a lot of complexity added to it because it's less liquid. But then you do have a concept like points, for example. Do you value points at all? And if you do, how do you value it? And if you don't value it, why don't you value it?
you mean like HyperLiquid points, or?
Point systems in general, but you can, if you're familiar with hyperliquid points, and because you're a perps trader, then we can talk about it on that basis. I'm very familiar with them um, as well.
Honestly,
So,
not that familiar. Genuinely, no clue how they really work on Hyperliquid. Like, what do they give you? Like, better fees, or is it just an
oh,
airdrop conversion
absolutely
mechanism?
not. So these points are so it's. I have a lot of formulas in my head right now, and like I'm not gonna lie, the Extend one is quite a little bit more complex than Hyperliquid didn't leak their formula specifically, but both work in a Extend and Hyperliquid both work in a fairly similar manner, where you will have X amount of points distributed over a week, a month, or whatever, based on these certain factors. And what I mean by that is X amount of points, I mean like it's a set amount of points. So I'm just going to imagine that it's 1 million points. These will be distributed to you via a certain formula uh, every single week by this logic, meaning that let's say that you do, I don't know, $100 million volumes, right? The day that it launches, that's gonna matter a lot more than when the point system is about to end. Because when the point system is about to end, a lot of more people are going to trade, presumably. So if you get kind of like a first mover advantage with these systems. So that's why I like point systems. There's like a lot of them that do like, okay, we have X amount of points. It's going to be distributed, X amount of time via this specific formula. And why I like these things is it's kind of like, okay, if you provide value to these protocols since the beginning, you will have an advantage over other people, which first of all, like, incentivizes people to join early, not because, like the liquidity is better than Binance, for example, but because basically says like, hey, we value that you are putting in the effort to making our platform better, so we're going to give you a higher reward than someone who joins later when the platform is more established.
Understood. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The only like a fear or like instant feedback or like my thoughts are, what happens when set points they need to mean something, right, to the user, because right now also the meta of farming everything, right? So people, let's say, would open without dropping any names, they would like open a long position on said platform with points, but go short on exact same position, like literally counter trade themselves just for the sake of
Yeah, yeah, delta
farming
neutral,
points.
basically.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also as for me, like trading for a living, um, sometimes I feel like we all do. Like if I
Because
know we all maybe today I'll get like more points, and I don't want to trade for the sake of trading personally. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to force trades just because it's
no,
Taco
no, no.
Tuesday.
No, but I mean, like, like, hey, you're doing a trade, but like, because you're a legitimate trader, you're being rewarded for your effort, so that's why we're going to give you points. I'm talking more of that way. I'm not talking about in the marginify way, where they're like, oh, we're gonna give you points, but we're going to be vague on every single aspect about it. Because that's the thing that I kind of hate about a lot of these point systems. Like I really like point systems in general, and I think they're better than a general airdrop, simply because it's like, hey, we will tell you or at least give you a hint about what we care about. We will give you points for this. This is when the point system is going to end. And it kind of becomes like a trust agreement of like, hey, the moment this point system ends, we're going to convert it to tokens, but like, maybe we're going to keep some factors, hidden so that you cannot fully game it. But like, you kind of know, like, hey, if you're an early user, you will be, more rewarded than later users. If you're doing the right thing, you will be rewarded more than like someone that's like a wash trader would, for example, get 1 point for the same amount of volume that like a legitimate user does, that gets 100 points and all of that stuff. Like that's stuff that I really care about and think about. But like I will agree, like as someone that does a lot of automated airdrop farming, and I don't give a shit. I will name names. Like Scroll has been a piece of shit. Margin.fi has been a piece of shit. Like literally, their competitors have been making meme coins about them because they removed the point system after a while because people kept asking about like, hey, you've been dragging us along for this long
Yeah,
time. When are you going to drop the token? And then they kind of fucking hell, I don't want to drop the subject, but like they said something about and then a place where the homies hang a lot. There's a certain letter for it, and then that he had a certain sexuality and tried to blame it on that. Then they removed the point system, then they added it back, and then you look. I
yeah.
do agree, and there's like ZK Singh
Oh yeah,
that
oh
has
yeah,
done
that
like
was a good one.
a total mess up. Like with Scroll, like I can agree with a lot of their points, but like I know that there is a lot of corruption going on. In the same stuff, I don't give a damn. They can attack me all they want. I have enough internal documents anyways to leak. Um, but it's a sad situation, and I think like point systems are designed here, are basically created to create some kind of fair system where you can tell your users, instead of like, hey, we're gonna do a random kind of lottery based on whatever you do, you will be rewarded. Like I prefer that you have a point system and say like, hey, we will give you points in a hidden formula because you provided value to the protocol, and that helps us grow and improve us to be better. While and at the end of the day, what they do instead is like, hey, we're going to screw you up anyways, and we're going to give the insiders all of these advantages, and that it really pisses me off.
Yeah, I mean it's been like a meta, right? And it's I feel like it's fair to say over say last 18 months or so, I mean, half of crypto projects that launched did some sort of points, or like they were farming and or incentivizing people, users to be farming them. And we've seen the good and the bad. And I mean, I think the easiest example to shit on is Friend.tech, even though I've never literally participated, but I feel like it was a total flop.
I created an account on Friend.tech on day one on my anonymous account. I did it on my doxed account, and I literally was just like, do not buy my shares. I just literally just created it because I know I get a lot of points for creating an account. And I just instantly, sold my stack. But let's be honest, that product was really damn bad. Like I feel like if you hire like 5 guys from Fiverr at the cheapest possible rate, we could create a better platform that they have created. But then again, it's backed but not endorsed by certain people. So that already tells you enough because they have invested in some real crap, which they also maybe be angry about. But hey, Art Copplers was not really a certain hit, and at the peak of the bear market, that explains a lot. But um, but yeah, no, I totally understand you. I do think that some point systems were pretty good. I do hate like I like HyperLiquid in a lot of ways, but the fact that they did like this Discord, if you get into the Discord and grind like a certain role, that I disagree about badly. Then they did a very good point system. Then they fucked it up with like the spot markets because they were like, hey, you can launch a spot coin, but like you couldn't really build on top of it. And then they gave the majority of the points to the people that were trading the spot market. Um, or were at least holding spot assets, but like it wasn't really ideal because I think like the only legit project that I can think about is HFun or HyperFun, which is like a Telegram sniper bot for new launches and all of that stuff, which is also by a very good guy, Lawrence. He's a friend of mine IRL, but at the end of the day, like it's a very bad signal for me that you suddenly, you know, value people that are buying these spot coins that are at the end of the day mainly meme coins, which you have to bid on to launch a new token constantly. I think is a pretty bad sign, but that's maybe just me. Um, but I also hold a lot of hyperliquid tokens, so hyperliquid points. So I hope that shit goes to the moon. Uh, but yeah.
Fair. Yeah, I'm actually been very untouched, as you can see by the points. I'm just doing my little thing, trying to long or short Bitcoin and make some money. And because I also feel like the space in general, whatever the person does, you can never be everywhere. And I know it gives me a lot of anxiety when, let's say I had a good week, just literally making numbers up. I'm gonna make I'm up 250K on a week. Like I should be happy, like great week, whatever. But I open like a Telegram chat rooms, right, with friends, and everybody's discussing this like whatever BODEN or whatever is the new shitcoin, and instantly my body's reaction for some reason, even though I should be experienced enough to just like literally ignore it, I'm thinking, oh, how much I could have made. Just the classic useless like monologue, which I feel is
If I
non-productive.
aped when my friend chilled, I would have made X amount. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, but on the other hand, if I also sized up bigger on BTC, for example, I could have made half a mil, right, or a mil, like literally making these numbers up. But you get the point. So it's like so much shit happening in the space. There's NFTs, there's new chains, there's new airdrops, new coins. This chain or this coin, you mean on Solana or on mainnet or on Base? It's like, oh my fucking god! Like I'm too old for this shit. So I just stick to what I think I can do well. And
But I think like the market is also, like I hate to say matured because we definitely are still children compared to the traditional markets. But like back in the day, I remember in 2018, 2019, it was perps and it was DeFi coins. Now you have memes. NFTs are kind of dead. Like there are very few projects that I think are still pretty interesting, but I'm not gonna shell my own bags. Then you have, meme coins just totally dominating, and then there's like a billion layer twos that are raising at ridiculous values, and you still don't know what the difference is between all of them. There's just so much noise because everyone is trying to grab your, precious dollars from you rather than, trying to provide value because currently the market is just very sad.
yeah, I agree. I feel like also it's kind of it's always been like that, right? Every cycle you have these. I'm not saying this. I feel like it's a top of the market, but people saying we're this early and like meme coins reaching multi-billion-dollar valuations every other day. is to me definitely not sign of bear market. You know what I mean? It's like, where in the cycle are we? Amount of risk people are taking. It just, I don't know, kind of gives me.
Would you agree that meme coins are kind of like the GameFi of this season?
Man, I don't even know. It's just maybe, yeah. I mean, 99.99, like literally most of them will go to actual zero, right?
Hmm.
Like actual fat zero, and it will be much faster than most of the
I mean,
VC
we can
coins.
look at BODEN, for example. It was one of the first coins that like really did well. And I'm not hating on BODEN, uh, because I have a lot of my friends who made a shit ton of money on that, and I've even helped them with
Yeah.
market making agreements and stuff. And like one of the wholesome stories that I can share is there's this guy. I'm not gonna say his Twitter name, but he's in his 30s. He's sharing his apartment, and I mean like an apartment that's like a few $100 a month to rent, with his brother in his 30s, and working 16-hour shifts or 12-hour shifts at a factory, physical labor. And he threw in a few $100 at BODEN, and he basically made life-changing money. Like I wanted to tell him, like when he contacted me, I wanted to tell him like, hey, just fucking T-Web the shit out of this in the next few days. But I also have a Shiba Inu story where I sold everything, and then a little bit later, like 6 months later, it became 130 million. So I was a little bit more careful this time.
Oh my god.
Uh, yeah, you don't want to know, bro. Like that's suicide material. I'm not gonna lie. But that was gifted to me, by the way. I didn't even buy it. The guy that actually gifted it to me gave it also to five other people. Like it was 0.5% of the supply, and like everyone else lost their private key. And the guy who gifted it to us all, which was like $10 at the time, he sold it at a loss.
Oh
So
my god.
yeah, yeah, it's really fucking bad. But I'll tell you those numbers, at a later date, in private. But the Boden guy, he sold it. I think he made at least like 1 million out of it. Super sweet dude, but like, and I'm very happy for him. But like, it really hit for me where like when I wanted to tell him like sell everything in like a few days, it was like 20 cents, became like $1, like a 1 to 3 weeks later or whatever. Now and then it went to trade at like below 1 cent. Like it is insane how quick like the cycles go for these coins these days, because they just launch, try to get like the max, value out of it, and then just absolutely nuke. But it's also like the way that AMM designs work. Like it makes sense, and they don't care about like a centralized exchange listing right now, because trading has become so cheap, and Solana has like a pretty good UX when it comes to mobile. Well, like back in the day, you had to download MetaMask, add that network, like even Binance Chain, you had to add that manually to your MetaMask. Then through your browser of MetaMask, you had to go to the website, buy this specific coin, and then you would just have to hope and pray. And there were people that were a lot smarter than you. And now you just have to press and play on pump.fun, and you can launch a meme coin and do a live stream or whatever. So the market has changed a lot. But like, I mean, it's just garbage, but it's like accelerated garbage.
Yeah, 100%. Even though I'm definitely not the person to talk on the topic, I fully agree with you.
Neither
Back in
am
the
I, but
day,
I will hate anyways.
no, I mean, you're definitely right with the like lifetime cycle, if you will, of a meme coin, right? So even if you do
Hmm.
Shiba back in the day, which is obviously still around, then you do Boden. Even something like Boden, it took months, right, or weeks to die, and now these cool meme coins die in like days. And I think we're kind of approaching the stage where some of these some of these coins will have a full market cycle, if you will, within like hourly chart on a
Hmm.
deck screener. So, and I just really hope, maybe it's me coping and being mid curve, and I'm entertaining that as well, that this is gonna quickly or like soonish change.
Well, I do hope that it's gonna change soon, but I also see like so many builders that are of quality that are just giving up, and they're like, well, the easy money is in meme coins, so I'm gonna go over there. And like, even though they try to convince these friends, like, hey, It's, you're kind of ruining your credibility here. People don't care about
Mm.
credibility right now anymore. Like I think everyone is. Yeah, again, I'm just gonna compare it to Mr. Beast because of that fucking article that I'm writing. But they just care about eyeballs. They just care about the views. They're all about quantity, not quality. And I think like a lot of these people are going to learn it the hard way that quality people or people that have a solid reputation are going to be so much worth, are going to be worth so much more than people that are just trying to get a quick buck constantly, or trying to play the game or the meta, like for a quick buck. Because let's be honest, no one respects someone that jumps from project to project every month or two. People respect people that are going through the struggle, and when it's getting hard, like that's like the real, difference maker. But these people just don't get it because they try to go for the quick buck. But that's just me, maybe.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree. But also, I feel like a lot of people don't care. I'm not sure if in English is the saying, but like for someone to sleep well at night, right? For
It's a correct.
everybody,
It's a correct word. It's a correct saying.
it's like it's everybody has their own merit. To me personally, it's very important to not fuck people over, and for some reason, somehow it's very rare in this industry, which is
Well, it's a mix of things, right? You have the anon culture where like people, prioritize a lot of anonymity over being doxxed. Like back in, 2020, 21, it was like, oh, if the founder isn't anon, I don't care. And then when you think about it, it's like, wait, he has like one reputation to ruin. And then when he has a lot of reputations to ruin, it's like suddenly okay because he has a lot of Twitter followers that you can just buy on the internet. Of course, there's like things like mutuals, etc. But there was so much new blood coming in that you could just basically game it, and you still see that with like shitcoin callers today. Like new accounts are popping up. They just make posts purely based on, hey, this will get me a lot of followers back, like creating a fake pudgy penguin or a milady or whatever, then just posting within their line. I can talk shit about them both because I shilled pudgy penguins when they were below 1 Ethereum, and I shilled like milady when they were 0.3 on chat with traders, and I shilled one more NFT that I said was high risk, and that never took off. So they can both kiss my ass. um, but at the end of the day, like we both can agree that in the current state of the market, a lot of these people abuse that position, and are basically just making specific posts to getting in line with that community.
yeah, 100%. 100%.
Anyways, we were talking. You're not a meme trader. You're not that very much into DeFi. So, my guess would be you're trading mainly on order flow to trade the futures markets. But maybe you can correct me on that.
Yeah, a bunch of order flow, but it's honestly just like a confluence, right? Sometimes because it's a lot of different charts and indicators, and doesn't matter if it's classic technical analysis or other indicators, right? People often beginners are like, oh, what is this chart? This chart will now make me profitable. It's like literally couldn't be more from true. So I use order flow for a confluence, meaning for like I want several things to line up. But yes, that is my like main, I guess, source of information, if you will.
You do say
So
like order flow is like a subject that's, how can I say, it's a little bit more complex in general. Because I mean it's very basic to the core, but I think it's like a chef at a Michelin restaurant. Like when people go to a three Michelin or two Michelin restaurant, they think that these people are pulling these crazy techniques, but at the end of the day, you just have very good core ingredients. You're presenting it on the plate in the best way that you can, and you're only like applying, minimal, how can I say it, like technical ability on top of it, like cooking it in the correct way. At the end of the day, like Marco Pierre White said, is you just try to present the ingredients in the best way possible, and you try to get the best ingredients possible. But you do say that you use a little bit of technical indicators. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. So, I mean, I can give best example. For example, you would have a setup. Let's say I'm online, it's evening, and Bitcoin is close to like a higher time frame support, right? Which would be, let's say, a monthly level or a weekly level, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, as far as I know, every technical analysis definition would be like a higher time frame level is more important than lower time frame level. So let's say I'm at a computer, we're close to area where I want to be doing business or where I think it's an interesting place to be long, or I'm leaning bullish anyways, meaning I want to enter a long position. And
Mm-hmm.
I get a headline that Israel attacked each other, let's say like literally earlier today, just to make the example easier. And I open Velodata, or I'm not sponsored by them, it's a free order flow tool to
It's
use.
a great tool.
Yeah, right. So you see price action every time with these headlines. You have to sit, you have to spend a bunch of time watching the chart. Doesn't have to be even order flow, just like 5 minute chart on Bitcoin. Every time there is a situation like that, right, it has certain like type of behavior. And why I'm saying this example, like amount of leverage in Bitcoin, like on aggregate level, got reduced by 10%, meaning 10% of all leverage in Bitcoin like got wiped, or it's like
Mm-hmm.
8% or whatever. I'm looking at it right
You're
now.
talking about aggregated data, right?
Yeah. This is so on Velo. It includes Bybit, Binance, like the
Yeah, but you
main.
have like you have like two separate ones. You have like individual for the exchange and aggregated. That's so for like the newer persons. I just wanted to clarify.
Uh, what? Sorry, can you repeat the question? Like if I have it separate, like
Oh
on
yeah, no,
Velo.
no, no.
That.
I mean like in Velo.xyz you have like
Mhm.
you have like individual to the exchange, open interest wise, for example, or you have
No,
like
no, no.
aggregated for like
Aggregated.
multiple
Yeah.
exchange. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's what I just want to clarify that for like a newer audience that is new to this
Hmm.
topic.
Yeah, but yeah. But I mean, Binance does like majority of it, as far as I know. Let me check. Yeah,
Oh no,
pretty sure. Yeah.
no, you probably have every single one because they have Binance, Bybit, HyperLiquid, OKX, and I think that's it, but maybe another one.
Also Deribit right now.
Oh yeah, Deribit. Okay, yeah, especially for options. But
But yeah,
for
like back to quickly sum up the example because you ask. So if we get like a big, like the easiest example I can give, if almost every time you have like a 10% on high or higher open interest, like basically deleveraging in one word, it's almost always a good time to do like to look for a trade. Be that a short squeeze or a long squeeze or like liquidation cascade
mhm.
to either direction. So and if somebody's playing it more degen, it was like 2 a.m. Unfortunately for me, 3 a.m. while traveling. I messaged you almost was afraid I'm not going to make this conversation or like this podcast. But Solana bounced like 10% already, which is like a top 10 coin, right? I'm not even saying you should
Yeah.
be trading fucking Bing Bong Deng, whatever is the latest animal shit. It's like you can size up easily 8 figures on Solana.
No, I definitely get that. But when are we gonna see you on DeFi and specifically Extend? Because I did send you an invite code, but you didn't use it yet.
I mean, I made it home a few hours ago, but I'm definitely gonna give
Okay,
it a
yeah.
try.
I
I'm
hope to
gonna
see you.
I'm
If
gonna
you have
make a
any
YouTube
questions,
walkthrough.
oh, hey, with a pleasure. Like, I'll ask Extend real quickly because we're gonna go in a public beta soon, so that you have like more of a referral code or whatever. That's definitely possible, and I'm definitely sure that Extend would love that if you did it. From all of the companies that I've worked with, I think Extend is the most professional one, and I'll talk a little bit about some other companies a little bit later, but when the call ends, which I think is about now. So, anyways, Runner, it was a pleasure having you,
Thank you.
especially for the second episode. Like, you're a great dude. Like, we've met briefly in Brussels, but like I got a good vibe from you then, and like especially the messages after that we did. I got a very good feeling about you.